So welcome to the Mindful Drop. Each week I'm going to explore a couple of oils that I'm using and how I use them, just as something for a resource for people to refer back to or to watch. And then please feel free to ask any questions. So we're starting this week because we're in the middle of winter. And welcome to those who are joining us live and to those who are watching the recording. I hope this is helpful. So we're starting here with On Guard, which is our protective blend. It's got wild orange, clove, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary in it. And these oils are all in it are wonderful natural antibiotics, which don't injure the gut or the immune system. So I'm going to start off by just going through some of the books, because if you do have oils, these are some of my favorite books that I use all the time. The Essential Life book, and you don't have to get the current edition. You can get, because those are with the newest oils, you could get some of the older editions because they've got fantastic information. And then Advanced Oil Magic and the Essential emotions and essential oils. So I'll read a little bit from that and then share my personal experiences. So it says On Guard, the top uses are for killing germs and airborne pathogens, and one can use it in a capsule or applying to the bottoms of feet or diffusing. Seasonal immune boost, diffusing or taking a drop in water or in a capsule. Colds and flu, again, taking in a capsule or applying to the bottoms of the feet. Staph, strep throat, and cough. Gargling in water and swallowing and applying a drop to the chest or taking in a capsule. Cold sores, warts, and infected wounds, applying to affected areas. Oral health, again, gargling. Fungal and parasite issues, applying to the affected areas or taking in a capsule. Urine tract infections or issues, again, taking a capsule or applying to the lower abdomen. Antiseptic and laundry cleaner, you diffuse or dilute with water and apply to surfaces. And then chronic fatigue and autoimmune disease, taking in a capsule or applying to the bottoms of the feet. And so one can see from that, there's so many different ways of being able to use this oil, either just topically over the area or into a wound, and in a capsule. I would do probably, if I'm just taking On Guard in a capsule, I'd probably put 2 to 3 drops in the capsule. And I like to add a little bit of carrier oil to that capsule. But you can also, I sometimes take On Guard neat under my tongue. I'll have a drop under my tongue. It's strong. You feel like you might breathe fire, but it really is very effective. For our children and for myself, I often take a teaspoon of raw honey and put it in a little mug, and I put a drop or 2 of On Guard. And then I mix it up just so that it sort of gets a little bit softer and blend it in. Sometimes I'll add a drop of lemon or ginger to it as well. I find that combination, and it's such a traditional age-old combination of lemon, ginger, and then cinnamon. And this has obviously got cinnamon and clove and orange, as well as eucalyptus and rosemary. So I'll mix that up, and they'll have a sort of teaspoon or half a teaspoon, and we do it every sort of 4 to 6 hours when we're coming down with something. So that's what the Essential Life book says. The Advanced Oil Magic talks about top uses immune support. So it says 1 to 2 drops in a capsule as a daily supplement, or apply to bottoms of feet. Colds and flu, also 1 to 2 drops at the bottoms of feet, and take with water or in a capsule. Airborne viruses, diffuse 5 to 10 drops. So I often put it in a diffuser. If we feel that we're getting something or starting to come down with something, we'll put it in a diffuser next to our bed at night. A mouthwash, rinsing the mouth with 2 drops in water. Or I make a mouthwash, which I actually haven't made for a while, so I'm now inspired to do that again. And I did it with so 5 drops of On Guard and 5 drops of peppermint with a little bit of fractionated coconut oil, and then topped up with water. And I just mix that up just before I use it. And using it after brushing teeth, it's really good for the gums, and which I'll talk a little bit more about just now. It's very good for oral health, very good for cleaning the mouth and any sores, and obviously freshening up the mouth and the breath. But we know that so much of our illness and disease starts in our mouth, or was reflected in our mouth. So we're realizing more and more how important oral health is. So cold sores, apply a drop with carrier oil to needed area. So I will often just actually open the lid and tip it like that and dab it. I don't get cold sores, but for my husband or anyone else that I recommend to use it, just to dab it directly on. And remember that On Guard has clove in it, which is numbing. And so it's very good for any mouth sores. So I do this also if there's any gum sores, mouth sores, sore teeth, just to do it almost neat. And I also combine it with copaiba when there's anything in the gum or in the mouth, because copaiba is so good for gum health. MRSA, it says apply 1 to 2 drops diluted to affected areas, and gum disease and cavities, rinse mouth with 2 drops and water. So it says stop the sniffles, roll on. It's got a nice recipe. We often start with our flute, which is frankincense, lemon, On Guard, oregano, and tea tree, and so 5 to 10 drops of each in a roller, and that we top off with fractionated coconut oil, and that's called flute. So I'll say it again: frankincense, lemon, On Guard, oregano, and tea tree, and that's our natural antibiotic. And we use that at the first signs of anything. We'll use it sort of across the front of the throat, especially if we're getting a sore throat, up and down the spine and under the feet. But the key with these things is to use it frequently. It's not like medication where you might dose 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. If you're starting to feel sick, I would almost use that flute roller or an On Guard roller almost hourly. And as I said, using the honey and the On Guard frequently, sort of even every 2 hours in the beginning, because the more you can dose up front, the quicker your body, it sort of kickstarts your body into fighting this. Once it's lingered, it's harder to actually to treat it. So their Stop the Sniffles roll-on has 10 drops of On Guard, 10 drops of black pepper, 10 drops of tea tree, 5 drops of frankincense, and 5 drops of Siberian fir. So it's a little bit different, but that just shows how we have so many different oils that can do similar things or can be supportive of each other. And their diffuser blend that they recommend is 5 drops of On Guard, 5 drops of tea tree, and 5 drops of oregano. So that's a really nice combination to put next to your bed or next to your desk when you're starting to feel sick, or if there's some stuff, stuff going around the office. So that's 5 drops of On Guard, 5 drops of tea tree, and 3 drops of oregano. So that's what the Oil Magic book says. And then the Emotions and Essential Oils talks about protection. This combination of oils is generally used to shield individuals from bacteria, mold, and viruses. This blend's protective properties, however, extend beyond the physical level by aiding individuals in warding off energetic parasites, domineering personalities, and other negative influences. On Guard strengthens one's immune system, which governs the ability to defend against attacks from physical pathogens and negative emotions. On Guard is incredibly helpful for strengthening the inner sense of self, along with inner resolve to stand up for oneself and live in integrity. This blend is especially indicated for personalities who have a weakened boundary due to some kind of perpetual violation to their personal space. On Guard gives individuals strength to say no and to resolve to maintain clear boundaries. It cuts away unhealthy connections such as codependency, parasitic relationships, or emotional viruses found in negative group thought. On Guard greatly assists individuals in learning to stand up for themselves and to live in integrity with their true self. So it's easy to remember that the protective blend protects our bodies, helps us to ward off unwanted pathogens from our environment, or and same emotionally ward off, strengthen our emotional boundaries. So the negative emotions are attacked, unprotected, vulnerable, controlled, manipulated, susceptible to peer pressure. And the positive properties are healthy boundaries, protected, capable, integrity, dependent, reinforced, and strengthened. And the way they suggest using it is either inhaling aromatically, inhaling from a bottle, or diffusing. Topically, diluting 1 to 3 drops with carrier oil and applying over the chest, throat, and the bottoms of the feet. And remember, this is where we speak from. This is where we hold our truth. This is when we hold things close to our heart. So this we apply to that area to strengthen our resolve. And environmental, to add several drops to a spray bottle and to mist around the home. So especially if you're having someone in your home that you want to have your boundaries. So as I mentioned, we use it most frequently as a drop in honey. One can also use it in a tea. You could put a drop with honey and ginger, either ginger oil or the ginger essential oil. Sorry, the ginger essential oil or raw ginger. And the same with lemon. You could add a bit of lemon with it and honey and make it into a tea, especially at the time of year when things are going around, or if you're starting to feel a scratchy throat or something like that. I mentioned about using it in mouthwash and in gums and mouth sores. It's also great in a blend for if people are having wisdom teeth or braces or anything like that. I make a nice blend with clove or with On Guard to use around. And we use deep blue and lavender and I think helichrysum just in a little roller bottle that they can use frequently around to help recover. Then also using it directly into wounds because it's got such wonderful antiseptic and antibiotic properties. It really can help a wound to heal. Yeah, you just used frequently with cold sores or in the flute or On Guard roller. So there are actually, the reason I'm actually only talking about On Guard and Immortelle today, because On Guard, there are a few other ways that we can use it. There's On Guard beadlets. Actually, I should have put my beadlets here. They come in a little tube, and they're tiny little beadlets, which are each 1/4 of a drop of On Guard. And they're very easy for children to swallow. So again, I keep them in my bag. If anyone's coming down with anything, we use a few drops, 2 to 3 of those, or for adults, I'll use 4 or 5, and we swallow those. I don't usually bite them because they're quite strong, but they're very useful to have, and they're great for traveling, and they're great for kids. There's also the On Guard chewables, which have got, well, they're On Guard Plus because they've got vitamin C, vitamin D, and zinc. I keep those in my car, and we often will just chew 1 or 2. They're quite a harsh taste in the beginning, but they're the sort of taste that you get used to and actually really like after a while, so stick with it. Yes, just swallow the beadlets. You don't even need water to have them. And the On Guard chewables, the chewing obviously helps to break down, to release the vitamins and minerals in it, but it's nice as an immune boost and just to keep your system healthy, and also when you're starting to come down with anything. Then I'm just waiting for my soft gels. I'm very excited that we've got those. They are very easy ways of just, again, they're bigger, more potent than the beadlets. And I've ordered enough to send 1 with each of our children to boarding schools so that they can just take 1 each day and to support their immune systems, especially at this time. So the soft gels are for regular use, especially in winter or any times of seasonal issues, or when they might be coming down with anything. And I would use that a little bit like I would use an On Guard roller for a little one. So if I had a child that was sort of a nursery school age, I would I'd make a roller with about 15 to 20 drops of On Guard, topping it up with coconut oil and using it under their feet when they put on their shoes each morning, maybe even just on their hands before they go to school, just to try and boost their immune system and support them as they go to school. So I would do that. I might also give peppermint On Guard beadlets if it's a sort of particularly sickly time of year. And so the soft gels, I plan to do similar, but with our older children. And they're not going to, at boarding school, put a roller under their feet or on their hands, but they will take a soft gel tablet. And then there's some lovely cleaning products, which we'll talk more about another time. But there's an On Guard cleaning concentrate, and I use a drop of On Guard and a drop of lemon with a little bit of apple cider vinegar in to clean fruit and vegetables. So just fill a basin and put in the fruit, and then put on a drop or two of On Guard, drop or two of lemon, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, and that helps to clean off any of the residue or the pesticides that might be residual pesticides that might be on the fruit and vegetables. It's also quite a nice thing to put in a spray, the On Guard, to clean with lemon, to clean like chopping boards and things like that. Again, I'd put a little bit of vinegar and mostly water. So that is On Guard. I'm just going to so the details of the essential oils and emotions book is just emotions and essential oils. It's actually not ring bound. Mine was coming apart, and so I had to ring bind it, I think. And so you can get this from the EO Supplies, ZA EO Supplies. And if you're part of the Yum Drops team, you can use the code Yum Drops, that gets you a 10% discount. So any other questions about On Guard? You're welcome to unmute or put anything in the chat. And also if something comes up later, you can also ask. It's obviously one that I use a huge amount, so and never am without. That's fine. You can drop off if you need to go. And then our next one is Immortelle. So my Immortelle is finished here, well, just about finished, and I'm waiting for my new one to arrive with the On Guard soft gels. So Immortelle is our anti-aging blend, and the words that go with it are regenerating, youthful, and replenishing. So we think of it as anti-aging, and the top uses are the main ingredients are important to know there. It's frankincense, Hawaiian sandalwood, lavender, myrrh, helichrysum, and rose. So one doesn't get a more powerful combination of antioxidant, anti-inflammatory oils. These ones are all incredibly powerful for tissue healing. And this is an undiluted blend. So this is a pure blend of these oils. So when I first used it, I found it quite strong, and I got a little bit of a rash, made my eyes water, and so I used to dilute it. So you can actually open a roller bottle like this and pop off the top. I just popped off the cover, but you can just, there are actually nice little tools that you can get to open up rollers and bottles, but you can just pop off the top. And this is how you can also use this to put it into different blends. You can use a dropper or dip it in, or you can dilute it into 2 to 3 roller bottles. So that's the Immortelle. So you can use it for wrinkles and fine lines, apply topically to the face and neck and hands, and I use it around my eyes every night in a sort of figure of 8. You can use it on sun damage and skin cancer, apply to the affected area to promote healing and renewal. Scars and stretch marks, this is how we actually started using it. Our daughter grew very quickly when she was about 12 or 13 and developed nasty stretch marks at the top of her thighs and on her bottom, and she was very distressed by it. And so I got Immortelle and we split it between us, and she used it on that, and it made a huge difference to the stretch marks didn't look nearly as purple, and a lot of them disappeared. So she now actually doesn't worry about where she didn't even want to wear a costume. Blemishes, you can apply to the affected area. Tension and mood balance, apply to the heart, the back of the neck, onto the forehead, and pulse points or under the nose. Because these are amazing oils, again, for grounding, for calming, they've all got anxiety properties of decreasing anxiety, uplifting mood, and calming. And for meditation, we also can use it under the nose or to pulse points. And then finally, it says cataracts. Add 1 to 2 drops in a capsule, 1 to 2 times daily, and use under the second and third toes. So I use it around my eyes to promote my eye health, but you can actually also use it in a capsule and under the second and third toes, because those are the reflexology points which connect to the eyes. So that's the Essential Life. The Advanced Oil Magic, it says here, this blend helps the skin remain youthful by restoring tissue integrity, which is the quercetinine in myrrh, regenerating cells, which is the beta-caryophyllene in frankincense, and inhibiting the degradation of collagen and elastin, which is the neural acetate in helichrysum, amongst other properties. So it says top uses are wrinkles and fine lines, apply to desired areas morning and night. The age spots, apply to the affected areas 3 times daily. Scarring, massage for 30 seconds into scar tissue 2 to 3 times daily until the desired appearance. Skin cancer, apply neat to affected areas 3 times daily. Skin discoloration, apply to affected areas 3 times daily. Meditation, apply to pulse points during meditation. And bleeding, apply neat to stop minor bleeding. I mean, we use helichrysum, we call helichrysum liquid stitches, and it's got helichrysum in it. So, I mean, putting helichrysum neat into a wound is incredible for how it stops the bleeding and helps the tissue to recover. And so the same with the Immortelle. And the emotional uses, it says sacred trees and woodsy oils in this blend make it ideal for inviting spiritual insight during prayer and meditation. It's got a suggestion for a smooth and glowing facial oil, which has got use 5 drops of the Immortelle and 4 teaspoons of jojoba oil. And it says mix the 2 oils well and massage onto your face, neck, and décollage in upward motion. Do this in the morning, followed by your moisturizer. And it's got a radiantly useful massage blend as well, which has got Immortelle, helichrysum, myrtle, and argan oil. So that is that. And the emotions of Immortelle. It says essential oils have been used since antiquity to assist meditation practices, prayer, and spiritual worship. Immortelle combines the power of high vibrational oils with grounding oils to assist the connection between spirit and body, heaven and earth. It encourages positive states of being and supports the development of faith, hope, gratitude, kindness, love, patience, and trust. Immortelle is a wonderful aid for meditation as it quiets the mind, fosters inner stillness, and encourages spiritual growth. These oils are gentle yet powerful. They assist in the release of negativity, darkness, and limiting perceptions. This blend can mitigate spiritual blindness and other spiritual issues by offering profound insight, profound light to individuals. Immortelle offers grace and comfort when one feels discouraged or distressed. This blend can assist individuals in transcending the darkness, pain, and stress of life. It offers support in raising levels of consciousness and preparing individuals for new heights of spiritual transformation. So, and look at the light on me. It's Immortelle's property is spiritual insight. And the negative emotions are spiritually disconnected, burdened, discouraged, spiritual blindness, dark night of the soul. And the positive properties are hopeful, spiritual transformation, faith, trust in the divine, grace, still. So it suggests inhaling from the bottle, diffusing or placing drops in the hand, rubbing and inhaling, and topically adding 1 to 3 drops on the crown of the head, forehead, wrists, or over the throat or heart. I would just roll it. I wouldn't bother to take out drops. So, yeah, you're welcome to just drop off when you need to. So as I said, I use it around the eyes at night. I use it on scars and wounds. I've made up, before I had just a small amount of Immortelle left, and we had a family friend who had a bad injury. She had severe cuts to her feet, and I gave her that. I topped it up with some fractionated coconut oil, not the whole. I didn't fill up the whole bottle. I just sort of did it to half. And she used it, and she contacted me afterwards to get some more because she said it helped her more than any other scar or wound healing remedy that she was given, and any pharmaceutical that she was given. So stretch marks I've talked about, and then we use it a lot for brain injury, for concussion. So I make it often for youngsters who've been concussed. We use it on pulse points behind the sort of at the base of the spine, on the occiput, here in the temple, here, or over anywhere where there's been a boot bump or a wound to the head. and we use it every 4 to 6 hours. I know there are a couple of videos that I will share, but it's used quite a lot with people who've had strokes. And even if their strokes were a number of years ago, for healing, there's a lovely testimony by a lady, Michelle, in South Africa, who's used it for her father. Danielle Daniels, who is a doctor of psychology in the US, she's used it a lot for head injuries, and I'll share that video as well. And then I know that Shay, also in our extended Crossline team, uses it a lot for her daughter who has autism, and she made a speech roller that she used DDR prime and turmeric and copaiba, and then she used Immortelle every night for this for her daughter and she's responded remarkably well. But the details of that are for another day. But that's how we love to use Immortelle. So it's so much more than a beauty blend. It really is for any tissue regeneration, tissue healing, neural regeneration, and restoration. So any questions? So for concussion, I would use it for as long as there are symptoms, definitely, but I would actually almost use it definitely for a month, at least to 6 weeks. So in the beginning, I would use it almost every 2 hours on the injury points and around the head, behind the ear. And then I would use it for as long as there are symptoms, and at least another 2 to 3 weeks after that, because I think that brain healing is really important, and brain bruising is something that we can't do much else about, and this can only help. It can't hinder, and I would just keep using it. Any other questions? So I will end this recording now. I'll post this also to our experience groups and to my website. And if you've got any questions, you're welcome to ask on those groups. Good. Well, I'm pleased it was helpful. I hope it was helpful, Inka. It really is a wonderful blend and worth having and getting. And I take it everywhere because of its how it deals with wounds and bumps and bruises, and then also just as a general beauty regimen. So thanks for joining. I'll be here this time next week, and I hope to see you then.